Indonesian authorities say they've found the location where they believe a Boeing 737 passenger plane crashed into the sea shortly after takeoff from Jakarta last night. Now, our Indonesia correspondent Anne Barker is standing by, joining us now live. Anne, what's the latest with this story?
Nadia, authorities in Indonesia believe they found the location of the crash site about 20 kilometres offshore from Jakarta in an area known as the Thousand Islands chain, where there are many islands. The water there is about 20 to 23 metres deep. In the last 12 hours, since overnight, really, they have found quite a lot of debris. They've apparently found the emergency chute from the plane, and they have found some body parts that have been brought ashore. As yet, the report suggests they haven't quite found the fuselage, but obviously they know roughly where it is. Now, some fishermen overnight had also found some metal objects, some cables, and pieces of clothing that have also been brought ashore to the Tanjung Priok port in Jakarta for examination. And it's now really just a matter of hours, I imagine, before they do locate that fuselage and know exactly where the plane has come down.
A critical few hours and days ahead. What do we know about the flight and what happened?
Well, this was meant to be a routine flight for Sriwijaya Air between Jakarta and Pontianak in West Kalimantan. There were 62 people on board, including 50 passengers, and among them there were 10 children and babies. Now, the flight disappeared off the radar only 4 minutes after takeoff, and some of the flight data shows a fairly strange route the plane took as it took off. It was meant to veer slightly to the northeast towards the island of Borneo, where West Kalimantan province is, and right at the last minute, within 4 minutes of takeoff, it suddenly veered to the west. And apparently in the space of 1 minute, it plunged about 1,000 metres before all contact was lost. So from the beginning, the searchers had a rough idea of where to search. Then they had, in fact, there were some reports that witnesses, fishermen, had heard 2 explosions at sea around the time yesterday afternoon when the plane had apparently come down. So really in the hours ahead, you would expect a lot more debris to be brought into Jakarta for examination.
And just awful thinking about those as families and loved ones waiting for answers about those on board. Have there been any previous crashes in the area where this plane went down?
Look, this area of the Java Sea, in fact, has been the scene of several crashes. Most recently in 2018, a Lion Air Boeing jet went down with 189 people on board. That was also very eerily similar in the circumstances. At the time, it was only a matter of minutes after it too took off in the early morning and suddenly disappeared. It nosedived into the sea. A few years before that, an Air Asia flight also disappeared into the Java Sea after flying from Surabaya towards Singapore. Indonesia, of course, has a woeful safety record. Sriwijaya Air, as recently as about 4 years ago, was listed as one of the 10 least safe airlines in the world by airlineratings.com, and you would expect that this crash will obviously make that reputation even worse.